Well, hello, welcome to I Love Gay today. And we're diving into something a little different for us today. We're diving into the world of politics, and we are here with Adrian in the UK. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Matt. It's great to be with you this evening.
Same here. And go ahead and tell me because I only said Adrian because I just cannot pronounce your last name properly, and I know I'll mess it up. But how do you say your full name?
It's Adrian Hyyrylainen-Trett.
Oh, see, for everybody listening, I would have tried, but I think I would have got it, made a few errors there. But no, it's so great to have you here. And what's interesting and why this is a first is because we've actually never really dove into the world of politics and especially talking to a candidate. And I think the first question people would have is just like, why are you doing an interview with an American audience and so forth? But that's the key is that the audience that we have is not purely American with I Love Gay. You and I have connected through I Love Gay UK and I Love Gay London. But I mean, I think we can agree that the internet kind of connected us globally 30 years ago, but I think it was really social media that brought us together and allowed us to kind of create these communities with I Love Gay that allowed us to get to be kind of connected and really know who you are. And because you and I have knew each other through social media before we even met in the real world, which is twice now, I think.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But I mean, social media is there, whether we like it or not. It's a form of communication. People get all their news information from it.
Yeah.
We as candidates have to make the most use of it.
Well,
And
Well, you guys are very good at it, especially especially in the UK. I think even more so in other parts of the world. But you are running for let me get this right for the Liberal Democrats parliamentary candidacy, and it's the area of Old Bexley and Sidcup. Yes.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a former seat of one of the UK's former prime ministers,
Wow.
Sir Edward Heath.
Wow. And but yeah, tell us a little bit about kind of like just who you are and from a because I know you have a kind of a DEI background and so forth, but also kind of what made you want to jump into the world of politics.
So, to be honest with you, my DEI background came from the world of politics
Yeah.
because when I was first a candidate back in 2015, this is my fourth general election. So, I've stood in 2017, 2019, and now this year. And I became the first openly HIV positive parliamentary candidate in 2015, which was a national story at the time.
Yeah.
And it's something about, engaging and telling the truth and being honest about who you are as part of society and helping those who perhaps may be struggling and seeing that there are ways of helping society
Yeah.
in the future. And by being in politics, that's what come through my diversity, equality, and inclusion background.
Yeah. How do you feel as far as that part of London just being open to accepting an openly gay and openly HIV positive candidate?
Yeah, I mean, you still get the nasty comments. That's just part of being on social media, I think, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
And I think, particularly as I'm a non binary candidate, which feeds into the whole discussion around trans and non binary rights, which is something the Liberal Democrats are very proud of. Therefore, I'm also there representing a group of people who are being victimized and demonized when they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So it's really important that we stick up for fellow LGBTQ plus people, not just in the UK, but we show that the politicians can and should be part of society and be open and available to talk about the issues and discuss them.
Well, it's interesting because part of when I was thinking through our discussion here, I was like, why do you want to run? But it's like you almost answered that through one of your posts. It was on LinkedIn actually, but you really had a great post that you had put together that was in response to the prime minister and his "man is a man, woman is a woman" speech. And I think was that kind of things like that in your past part of the inspiration?
Yes, to some extent. I mean, obviously, there are issues around immigration, around refugees, which are, again, core values of Liberal Democrats. And I spoke around the comments from the former Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, at a conference
Yeah.
around our compatibility with the European Court of Human Rights and making sure that people who are not persecuted and not sent to countries where being LGBTQ plus might put them in prison, might lead to their eventual death, sadly.
Yeah.
So they're very important policies for us, and at the same time, it gives very clear commitment to where we stand on some of these issues.
Well, especially because when I see on social media the transgender identities, is really being debated a lot. It seems in your country, but it's just in general LGBTQ rights and transgender rights. That's a big part of also why you ran as well. Yeah.
Absolutely, and it's a fundamental part of the Liberal Democrat manifesto around supporting people who are LGBTQ, making sure that hate crime is got rid of, and we have fully conversion therapy that's fully trans inclusive. So there are key party policy issues that we stand on, and again, having someone who's non-binary and can articulate those policies from a lived experience is really important for a political party to have standing as a candidate.
Yeah. And just from a bigger picture point of view, so folks can get to know the person, the Adrian that I've come to know. But I've enjoyed watching you over the years with the work you've done, even with the gay games, and you've been very involved. But you actually participated. You were a gold medal winner, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. My sport and my politics are sort of the two main interests that I have. And yes, I'm vice president of external relations for the gay games.
Yeah.
And competed in Guadalajara in Mexico in powerlifting, golf, and 5 and 10K runs, and I won my first gold medal at a gay games in non-binary powerlifting competition. So, wow. Yeah.
But you're still doing like outreach. I think you're an ambassador for them now for their upcoming gay games.
Yeah, I'm still vice president of the Federation of Gay Games, and we'll be competing again later on in July for our powerlifting global championships in Mansfield near Nottingham. So the sport continues even with the politics at the same time.
And you and I are both of an organization, Pride 365 as well, and I know you're very active with them.
No, absolutely. So I work alongside the CEO Jack Measel and several other Pride 365 champions. Xander Murray's just become one of our new champions as well. It's great to see an LGBTQ footballer taking part with us as well, and that adds to the sporting element of Pride 365 champions. So again, hopefully we'll be seeing them on Saturday at Pride, and meeting up with some of them en route or afterwards at the Hippodrome, because it's going to be a very, very busy weekend of not only are we in the middle of general election, but we've also got Pride in London on Saturday.
Yeah, for those that don't know, Pride, London Pride is this weekend coming up. So I'll be right there with you, but not in London. New York Pride as well. So I'm going to be jumping in with both feet and participating as much as I can.
I mean, that's unfortunately all the Pride seem to coagulate around the same dates, so it's a frustration for those that might. I'd love to come to New York Pride. I have never done it. Madrid Pride is another one that's in the diary, and they all around the same sort of time. So it would be helpful one day if all the calendars were synchronized and we all knew that there were different weekends.
Very true. But when is the general election? Did you say it's coming up this weekend as well?
So the general election is next Thursday, July the 4th. So this last weekend is the last weekend of campaigning in terms of canvassing and delivering. We obviously have Monday to Thursday of next week, but it's the last big weekend in that sense. So it's a bit of a balancing act of making sure I have some kind of presence at Pride, because I always do and have done for the past nearly 20 years. But at the same time, I will need to be out canvassing and campaigning as well. So it's going to be a very busy weekend. I
can see. Well, this is fantastic. I had to point out that it is ironic that your general election is on the 4th of July. That's our Independence Day.
Yeah, it seems rather appropriate from what's going on at the moment. So I'm quite happy that happens to be landing on that particular date. It has to be said.
Yes, I agree. So mostly I'm just really glad that you're able to take a few moments of your time and share a bit of not only your story, but what some of your platform and what you believe in here with our audience.
No, I think it's really important that candidates engage, and even though there may be different candidates across the country, and not many trans or non-binary candidates, which is a sad reflection of the fact that actually being a candidate from a minority community is always more challenging. Yeah. And especially in the current melee that we currently are sitting in, with the kind of comments and the kind of agenda critical movement that we see on Twitter, now X, but formerly known as Twitter. And those comments, they do ring. They do, there's a real viciousness around some of the conversations, and it's not easy. Yeah. But at the same time, those of us who feel we have the burden to be able to stand up and be counted must be able to do this and make sure that we represent the LGBTQ plus people in the country who are hoping that whoever wins the general election will support our community.
Yeah. Wow. Well, again, thank you. And I look forward to seeing you again in the real world soon.
Lovely. Thanks so much, Matt, and a pleasure to be on your show this evening.
Absolutely.